TIFU, update, by getting tested to donate a kidney to my wife, by user throwaway_wifiisms. Yes, I know I misspelled across. Yes, I do have bad grammar and spelling. Yes, I am stressed and freaking out. Yes, I can play the banjo. No, there was no genetic test when we got married. Our state stopped that in the 1990s. No, my wife has never been stuck in the dryer, but she once got stuck under the bed. Joke. The reason I did not go in too much detail is to try to not be so specific that I or my wife might be recognized. Well, the front page of Reddit didn't help with that. Thank you all for your comments and feedback. I didn't respond to them, but I did read all of them. The reason her family couldn't donate was that close relatives had some medical issues that prevent them from donating. Examples: high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, heavy drinkers, and more. The further out we tested, the less % of a match. I wanted to be tested because we needed to find someone. The doctor said it would be unlikely but wouldn't hurt to try. I was freaking out after I got the news and had to get outside advice. When the doc said that the percentage was abnormally high and that we might be related, I kind of zoned out and started to piece things together in my mind. My parents live 1,000 miles away. They met my in-laws a few times. Once at my wedding and when both my children were born. My children are fine. My daughter is incredibly smart for her age. My son is a handful and healthy. The way my adoption worked was when my bio mom gave birth to me, I was checked out and put in a different room. I was there but don't know how it officially worked. From what my parents explained, they were in that room waiting. They never met my bio mom in person. My bio mom only had a profile and picked them out of many candidates. I called my parents and told them that I needed to know everything they knew about my bio mom. They told me that they had limited knowledge. They said she was a single mom that was 16 years old. The father was not in the picture. Also, I was born in a hospital 1 hour from where my wife was born. Like I said, limited knowledge. Growing up, I didn't want to find out about my bio parents. To me, my parents were always my parents. I knew I was adopted and that it was a closed adoption. I figure it wouldn't matter long term. I'm not going to do an additional at-home DNA test through any of the traditional testing sites like 23 or Ancestry due to personal reasons. Like the possibility of the family finding out. The doc said all of this to only me, not with my wife present. Some of the additional tests were done through the doctor, which was the CM test. I'm not an expert on DNA testing. They said it was like a 1900 plus CM match. This basically confirms one of my bio parents is one of hers. It can also mean first cousins or aunt/uncle, I'm guessing her dad. When my kids were born, my parents brought photos of me as a baby and commented that I and my son looked a lot like my wife's dad. My son was easily explainable. But all three of us are a different story. I'm not going to bring this up ever. I might look at my Phil differently, but nothing will hopefully change. I hope none of the family goes on Reddit and connects the dots. I am donating my kidney to my wife. We have started the full process. That takes time and a lot of preparation. I plan on talking to my wife after the surgery and after recovery. We will decide what to do with our kids. If we are going to get them tested or ever tell them. I will not be leaving my wife. I love and will always be there for her. I made vows and I will keep them. I love her more than I would a half-sister. TLDR, I'm donating my kidney to my wife, who is most possibly my paternal half-sister. TIFU, by asking for a boob massage, by user KindGladiator3487. I'm currently staying at my parents' house still to finish college, so it's not as expensive, but I moved downstairs to get out of my parents' way. I was hanging out with my boyfriend in my room when I asked him if he wanted to give me a boob massage. It's that time of the month for me, so they're quite sore. He happily said yes and got to work. Whilst he's just fully palming both of my boobs over my shirt, my dad walks into my room without knocking to tell us that dinner is ready. He makes direct eye contact with both me and my boyfriend and stares at us for a couple seconds. My boyfriend never moved his hands from my chest, so he's just squeezing the Twin Peaks while staring at my dad like a deer in the headlights. My dad just said dinner's ready and walked out of my room. We didn't make eye contact when we got dinner. TLDR asked for an innocent boob massage and dad walked in on it. TIFU, by kissing a girl in a psych ward, by user appointment trick 1535. Alt account BTW. Also, sorry for any confusion I make typing this. I try to keep my stories short, so I will leave out a bit of details. So, this happened a while ago actually. 17M, remember the exact day I was admitted to the psych ward. It was the day after New Year's, great start to the year. I won't mention how I ended up in a mental hospital, but I will hint that it involves drug use. Also, just so you guys know, a psych ward isn't what it's like in the movies. It's actually rather chill, and I personally found it a good place to express myself and be a better person than I was beforehand. I recommend it highly if you feel like you ever feel like you're on the edge. Anyway, after about 2 days of being there and surprisingly making a lot of mentally ill friends, I meet a girl, 16, let's call her Ashley. Going into the psych ward, Ashley was the first person to catch my eye. She was extremely attractive and very friendly after getting to talk to her. We would talk every day constantly, and I ended up asking for her Instagram on the both of our last days at the psych ward. While waiting for our rides, I remember Ashley asking straight up, "Do you want to kiss?" At first I thought she was trolling, so I laughed and told her to stop playing. She told me she was serious, while adding a smirk to her face. I was still suspicious, so I told her to lean in first. She did, so I decided to as well, and to my surprise, we ended up kissing. The first kiss was short and more of a puck. Then we kissed again, and then it turned into a make-out session. Keep in mind, we are still in the psych ward, just in an area where there are no cameras or nurses watching. Then after a few minutes of kissing, I heard my name be yelled by one of the nurses saying my mom was here. So I awkwardly waved to her goodbye and excitedly skipped to my freedom while saying goodbye to my other mentally ill friends. So, I'm out the psych ward. I feel good, and everything is good, but I ended up forgetting Ashley's Instagram, so I didn't bother to try and look for her. So, a week passes, and I'm in school when suddenly I get called to the office. My mom is here to pick me up. I ask her why she came unannounced, and she told me a detective had called her and left her a voicemail telling me to come to the town name police department to talk about something that happened at the mental hospital I was issued at. I get scared obviously, because I have no clue as to why I needed to see a detective. We make it to the police station and I go in and was greeted to the detective. He makes me walk with him alone to a room where we both sat down. I felt like I was in a damn movie. He has a few files on the table along with a recorder thing. It was small. He says that I can leave at any time and not answer any questions at will, and then starts by asking simple questions like why I was in town name hospital and what people did I see. So I'm thinking that maybe someone got murdered and I was a witness. Then the detective drops the bomb. "I brought you in today, because a lady is saying you sexually assaulted her." I genuinely gasped aloud and got really defensive. I must have looked really sus. I said, "Who said I sa them? And I would never do that, what the fuck?" The detective pulls out this photo and it's a photo of Ashley. He asks if I know her and I say yes. Then, I tell him everything from what I knew. I said that she gave me 100% permission to kiss her, and that I didn't force myself onto her nor make her do anything. She was the one that asked first and leaned in first. I thought to myself, how could she do this to me? The first week I get out a psych ward and now I'm instantly being accused of sexually assault? The detective stops the recording thing and says that's all for today. He told me if I did do anything without consent, they would find out, trying to intimidate me, and that I should confess now. I shouldn't have even said anything without a lawyer. That was also my fuck up. The detective calls in my mom privately and then we both leave. My mom was angry too, basically on my side. So, what happened after that? Nothing. The case was dropped, I guess, because I never got a call back from that detective or from any cops. I also called the police department to ask about the case, and they said that it didn't exist. Honestly, fuck Ashley. And fuck me. I learned something that day: don't fucking kiss anyone in a damn mental hospital. They are there for a reason. I was there for a reason. To get better. Not to get whatever the fuck that was. TLDR, I kissed a girl in a psych ward, which led to a case about me sexually assaulting her even though it was consensual. I also spoke without a lawyer. Edit, those who are saying fake story, fuck off. You're telling me you'll believe stories like my girlfriend turned into Buzz Lightyear and fucked me in my ass than some non-dramatic story like this, kinda. And yes, I'm hiding behind a screen saying fighting words. Bite me, Redditors. Bite me. But anyway, tied to all the stories some told and advice given. Appreciate it. 3. I love Reddit. TIFU by inadvertently making my friends' parents think that I, 16M, am in love with their daughter, 17F by user Mxabus. One of my closest friends is of the opposite sex, shocker to some as you will see, and whilst we did have something brewing a couple of years ago, it resulted in nothing happening other than a meaningful and truly platonic relationship. Last year, for her birthday, I realized at the very last minute that I was lacking in a present for her, so I pulled out a blank cassette tape I had lying around and made her a mixtape with songs I knew she liked. Furthermore, I knew she was into that late 80s, early 90s aesthetic offered by the cassette tape. After having prepared the cassette, I felt a bit empty-handed bringing an object the size of a pack of playing cards by itself. My dad fortunately had some sort of well-packaged biscuits he had received from one of his colleagues. After I had given my gifts and went home, my friend texted me thanking me from the bottom of her heart for the gifts. Little did I know, the treats I had given her were traditional to her city in Germany where she was from. Furthermore, unbeknownst to my ignorant Gen Z self, cassette tapes are a sign of declaring love. Oh shit! It was at that moment when my friend revealed to me that her entire family thought I was in love with her, and furthermore, rooting for me. The other day, I went to a party that was in her area, and whilst it was happening I texted her to ask if she wanted to meet up. She subsequently turned down the idea of me coming over, saying she couldn't, and then offered the idea of meeting up at a McDonald's in the area. After I had agreed to the plan, she texted me again saying her parents didn't let her go to McDonald's either as they were worried for her as a teenage girl late at night. For clarification, she lives in one of the safest neighborhoods in our city. Today she told me that it was actually her parents' idea for me to come over and said that they would gladly let me come and hang out with her alone in her room. After feeling very uncomfortable by her parents practically almost inviting me to sleep with their daughter, she tried to meet up at a McDonald's with me. It was then that they blocked her from leaving the house. Her theory is that they wanted her to shag in a more dignified place than a McDonald's toilet. However, I'm still processing how my friend's parents, whom I've known since I was 4, would give me this amount of support, and I'm questioning my existence. TLDR, accidentally gave a romantic gift to one of my best friends and now her parents are trying to get me to give them grandchildren. Edit, I showed her this post since some of your responses were just too good. Some people even DM'd me asking to introduce them to her. She's both very grateful for the compliments but also slightly uncomfortable by the surprising amount of love she's received. She also reminded me that her father had told her in the morning, "Oh no, why did he not come last night? He was obviously trying to hit." Edit 2, here's the playlist in the cassette. TIFU by getting way too high at work after not smoking for 5 years, by user Bloodiest Taint. I work as a team lead in a warehouse. A couple of guys called out so I had to substitute for one of them loading trucks. This guy I work with, who is a great worker, smokes weed and dab pens. We all know, but we just let him because he's great at what he does. So I'm working next to him and he keeps asking me if I want to take a hit. After the 3rd time, I figured what the hell, so he offers me his dab pen. I haven't smoked in 5 years, but I used to be a major pothead, so I thought it would be like riding a bike. I took a 2 to 3 second hit, held it in, then let it out and coughed for a couple minutes. 10 minutes after the hit, I start feeling really calm and enjoying myself, then everything turned to complete shit. I had to read paperwork and I couldn't keep anything in my head, so it took me really long to load this truck. I was building pallets of product and my legs were on autopilot. Extreme paranoia was kicking in, so I was panicking hard. I would get tracers every time I turned my head. The rollers above me sounded like laser beams instead of the usual tin rollers sound, and to make matters worse, I had 3 hours left in my shift. Long story short, I'm on a gid to stick it out. I'm glad my boss didn't come up to me the rest of that night because I couldn't form a coherent thought. I would have been better off taking shrooms at work. Never again. TLDR, I took a dab hit from a coworker thinking it wouldn't affect me much and had full-on auditory hallucinations, paranoia, little motor function, and could barely finish my job. But I finished my shift without getting fired or drug tested. Never again.